is Amy Pena. I am the owner and founder of AIM Financial Solutions LLC, and we specialize in financial and credit consultation. And I am super excited to share successful tips that have personally helped me as well as my clients, and hopefully unlock some financial strength to get you going in the right direction. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. So give me a couple minutes. Go. Awesome. So as Elena mentioned, we will be discussing essential credit repair tips for both individuals and small business. So I'll go ahead and get us started. So what is credit? Many of you have dealt with credit. It's a big part of a lot of your financial decisions when it comes to buying a house, buying a vehicle, and starting your own business. So ultimately, credit is a trust relationship. It is between parties such as lenders, banks, merchants, credit card companies, which are the creditors, that give you, the borrower, funds with the expectation to pay back those funds according to the terms and conditions that you sign. Now, there are times, right, that we may come into a financial pickle and those payments are not fulfilled. Then your credit score is then impacted. It is important to know, right, that the credit score weighs both positive and negative experiences. But having a good balance of both and ultimately avoiding the negative will get you in the right journey. But if it happens, right, that's why we're here to discuss the essential tips to get you out of that situation. So there are three major credit bureaus for your personal credit: Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. And then for business credit, we have Experian Business, Equifax Small Business, and then Dun and Bradstreet. They each report different things, but ultimately they look holistically at your credit history. How often do you pay your bill? How much money do you owe? And what is the credit mix? So are you using a line of credit? Are you using a credit card? Are you using a loan? And how you navigate these financial instruments, it's how it's being reported to the credit bureau. And that's how lenders basically assess how responsible you are with these financial instruments. And then based on that, your scoring either goes up or goes down. And then when it comes time to, get approved, they'll base it off of this report. So as I mentioned, right, we may come into a little pickle and our credit, we may not get approved when we go in to apply for, let's say, that credit card. If that is the case, here are some essential tips that can assist you. Tip number one begins with reviewing your credit. It is essential to always check your credit reports. As I mentioned, whether it's your personal or your business, understanding what is being reported and by who is, again, very critical to understand your credit report. Not only that, it allows you to see what the lenders are seeing when they pull your credit. And then it also allows you to understand, whether it is something that you did indeed authorize, or if, it gives you a plan of action, right? If you went behind on a payment, you're able to see exactly what creditor you need to work with. So that way you can then get on good terms with that creditor. Another thing to review is your debt to income. And this essentially compares how much you owe each month to how much you earn before taxes. And then your credit utilization, which is the percentage of available credit that you have and that you're using. It is essential to always use 30% or less. If you do use more than 30%, that's when it starts impacting your credit. And if you're able to pay your credit cards month over month without revolving the balance, it's even better because at that point, you're being responsible with your credit utilization, and then you're also not carrying any balances. So that is tip number one. constantly review your credit. As you all know, it does get reported 30 days. It is important to keep in mind that not everything will show the same across all reports, just because creditors may report things differently to the bureaus, and they may report it differently as well, or some creditors don't report to all three as well. So let's go ahead and dive into tip number 2. So you checked your report and you found out, wow, I did not authorize this credit card. I don't know where it's coming from, and it's showing late payments, and you don't know what to do next. Well, the good news is the credit bureaus have established channels, whether it's online or writing to them, where you could dispute these inaccurate information on both your personal and your credit. It is important the moment you do find any inaccurate information, you report it and provide the necessary documentation so that way they could open an investigation and review these inaccuracies. And then, of course, it does take time, right? Because the credit bureau will then open an investigation on your behalf, and they'll work with the creditor to ensure that this indeed is not your debt. And through their investigative process, then they're able to work with you and communicate on the updates. Let's say 30, 45 days pass. I always recommend sending a follow-up letter, again, whether it's online or via mail, and just checking in to see what's going on, if they need additional documents, just so you can ensure that it's being followed up properly. And at the end of the investigation, if everything checks out, they will go ahead and remove the inaccurate reports. And a lot of times, if it is a negative report that doesn't belong to you, that will also help you and give you a nice credit lift as well, which is awesome. And then tip number 3, my favorite, debt management. As you all know, we get excited. You know, we get a credit card, we shop, right? And next thing you know, you're maxed out. And now you have all this debt in front of you and you just don't know what to do. Well, the good thing is today I will talk to you a little bit of the budget planning and some debt payoff strategies that can help you. As I mentioned earlier, your debt to income compares how much you owe each month and what you're bringing in, right? So keeping that 35% or less is always ideal, because the moment you get past the 35%, I would tell you from personal experience, it gets really tough to attack that, right? So the more manageable it is, the easier it is for you. And, you know, if a financial hiccup comes up, you're able to navigate that easily. Now, another strategy that I've used is the budget planning. I think many of you have heard of it. It's the 50-30-20 rule. So 50% of your income goes towards your needs. That could be your mortgage, that could be your car, that could be anything that you need, right? Your debt. Then 30% of that goes towards your wants. So let's say every month you enjoy having ice cream, which I do. You enjoy getting your nails done, or you enjoy getting a nice shirt. This is where 30% of your income will go into that. And then, of course, having your emergency fund is always helpful, right? So 20% of your income will go in towards your savings. This gives you 3 categories for you to split your income, and it allows you to be organized with your income, and as well as be able to attack any debt or any financial crisis that may come about. Of course, it is based on your personal situation. So you can always personalize the percentage, right? So if you're saving up to buy a big purchase and you really want it, let's say a home, you can add a little bit more towards your needs because you know you want that, you need that home. Now, let's say you really want a vacation, your debt is pretty low, so you can adjust the 30%. So it is all based on your situation, but this gives you a foundation to where to get started, and then that way you can have a proper way to plan for your finances. Now, if you have debt, there are a couple ways to attack this. And these are my three favorites. It's a debt snowball, the debt avalanche, and then the credit utilization. With the debt snowball, you're basically listing your debt from smallest to largest, and you're making minimum payments to all of your accounts, but you're adding additional payments to the smallest. And you're doing this until it's completely paid off. And then you move on to the next debt. And you keep doing that until your debt is completely paid off. And this one feels a little bit more attainable, right? Because the smaller you're starting, you're paying off quicker, and it gives you that motivation to keep on going, right? The next one is the avalanche. And then this one is based on the highest interest of your accounts. So let's say you have a credit card with 25%, the next one with 20, the other one with 16. You will start off again by making minimum payments across the board, and you would add additional payments to the highest until it's completely paid off, and you move on to the next, and to the next, and voila, you're. And the last one is your credit utilization. So let's say you're using 80 to 90% of your credit, which is really, really high, and you really want to make immediate impact to your credit score and just drop that credit utilization. You will start off with the one that has the highest credit utilization. So let's say you have 80, 70, 60% of utilization across all three cards. Same concept, right? You will make payments, minimum payments across all three cards, and then make extra payments towards the biggest one and work your way down. And this makes it super manageable across all three strategies. Again, depending on your situation. If you're someone that gets motivated quickly, you want to see instant gratification, right? The debt snowball is definitely the most effective. If you definitely want to save a little bit more when it comes to the interest that you're paying, then the avalanche. And as I mentioned, the credit utilization helps you drastically decrease those percentages across the board. So it's all dependent on your situation. But the good news is we have different strategies to help you manage the debt. And then that way you don't feel like you're stuck. And the sooner you get that paid off, you see instant impact in your credit. But not only that, it gives you more financial freedom, and it gives you funds to do other things to achieve your financial goals, which is awesome. Hence is why it's my favorite. And then the next one, this one is tip number 4. This one consists of your credit history and your credit payment, which is essential for all credit bureaus, right? So that way you can establish yourself as a borrower. So the first one is establish positive trade lines. Here it is crucial that you always make on-time payments. Even if it's the minimum payment, all payments registered within the 30 days is super important for your credit history. To put into perspective, let's say you miss a payment and you let it go for 30 days. This can drastically impact your credit score. We're talking, an estimate of 60 to 100 points. And it's hard to come out of that. So I always say, work with your lenders, work with the credit card companies. If you have a financial situation, it is best to speak to them. You never know, they may have recovery options, so that way you do not default on your payments and it doesn't impact your credit score as well. You may ask, what are trade lines? So trade lines consist of credit cards, which are both secured and unsecured, net 30 accounts, and this is specific for business accounts, which is suppliers and vendors. Some example of net 30 accounts are Staples, Uline, Quill, and they will report to the credit bureaus that you are making on-time payment or in some cases, if you default, they will also report that history as well. And then, of course, loans, right? Whether it's a personal loan, a business loan, a mortgage, this history as well gets reported to your credit reports. And if you are making on-time payment, these will establish positive trade lines. As I mentioned earlier, Dun & Bradstreet is one of the major business credit reports. Now, in order for them to generate the paydex score, which is essentially your credit payment history, you do need to establish 3 trade lines. And once that's done, that history gets reported to them, and then your paydex score gets evaluated in your Dun & Bradstreet report. So if you go in now, let's say you're starting brand new, and you're wondering, hey, this is not showing up, then now you know why. And, plan of attack there is establish the net 30 accounts. If you can, get a credit card, make on-time payments, and you'll get that reported on there. Awesome. And then tip number 5. So this one is crucial, right? As I mentioned, I started out with tip number 1, reviewing your credit, and I will end it with reviewing your credit, right? Because being able to consistently monitor your progress is going to be essential to understanding your overall financial state, right? Because if you know where you are with your credit, you understand your debt, you understand what's coming in, what's coming out, you understand how you stand with your lenders, your creditors. So when it's time to make those big financial decisions, you are well prepared and you know what to expect when you're sitting at that table, right? Because the hardest thing is you go into to meet with the lender and you're ready to purchase your business, but you find out your credit is holding you back, right? And you're really close to getting this business going or getting your home, but this is in the way. Well, as I mentioned, these tips will allow you to attack that, right? Will allow you to give you the foundation to get you out of debt, establish positive trade lines, and ensure that when you go into that room to get approved for your loan, you have a better understanding and you walk away with that signed agreement and contract, and you have your business or your home. So it is important to always monitor, be educated, be knowledgeable. There are a lot of free resources out there. So for example, for your personal credit, there is annual credit report. You can go in, you can request your credit reports. You can review each report for all 3 bureaus, and it's completely free. And there you can take the time to analyze step by step each trade line and understand what's being reported on there. And then the same with Dun & Bradstreet, right? Once you establish the profile, you get the number running, you're able to see what's also being reported on the business side of things. And then it allows you to give you, it gives you that visibility of where you stand as well with your business and where you need to shift if necessary. And then Experience Services and Equifax Business Support, there are a lot of resources there. And in these links, which Elena will send out, you can also navigate the dispute portal. So again, if you find something that's fraudulent, you never authorized it, you just don't know, you can reach out to them and they're able to assist you every step of the way. And my favorite is Nav Prime. This one's really cool because there again, you're able to see your overall credit health, understand where you are, and it also includes your personal credit too, which is pretty cool. So not only can you see your business, but you can also see your personal. Now, let's say in the case that you want to establish a trade line, they do offer paid services where you can enroll with their services and they become a trade line that gets reported to your credit bureaus, which is awesome. So not only can you see your overall credit and financial history for your business, you can also obtain a trade line from them as well that will report and begin establishing your positive trade line experience as well, which is awesome. So that is all I have for today. I do hope these tips were extremely helpful to you all. Thank you all for giving me the time to share these. And as Elena mentioned, if you have any questions, just don't know where to start, here's my contact information as well as my email. I am bilingual as well, so that will not be a hurdle, but feel free to reach out and I'm super happy to help in any way that I can. So thank you all.